I'm Mike Iaconelli, and I'm fishing in Washington, D.C. The Potomac River is one of my favorite urban fisheries. But this day, I can't catch anything.
There's a good one, big one, big one. Oh God, he pulled off.
Everything is going wrong for me.
It's bad conditions.
And I end up in Mad Mike mode.
Out for 5 hours and got out here in a tide.
But eventually, we find a huge school of fish. What we catch surprises even us.
Oh God, don't you come off.
This is City Limits Fishing, Washington, D.C. We have the challenge of each catching a 5-fish limited bass in 6 hours within the D.C. city limits.
It's pretty wild. We're right downtown D.C. fishing.
Robert is a D.C. native who's been fishing the Potomac for over 20 years.
When people found out I'm from D.C., well, how did you learn how to fish? Exactly. There's no water in D.C. It's concrete. The Potomac River is one of the best fisheries in the country. That's right.
The Potomac runs through the heart of the D.C. Metroplex, which also includes Virginia and Maryland. Reagan National Airport is located on the Virginia side of the river. We're launching at Gravely Point Park, literally at the end of the runway. But first, we have to get through rush hour traffic. Pulling a boat.
We hit traffic. We finally got to the boat launch. We had camera issues.
It was just unreal watching everything come unglued.
We were getting ready to launch. We had boat problems. Then we had to go get a license. We had problems getting the license.
He brings a check from New Jersey, thinking it's going to work in our D.C. government. I don't understand him.
I mean, it was a non-stop hodgepodge of stuff before I could ever make my first cast. It was a frustrating start.
Spoils Cove is technically in Maryland, but local anglers treat it as D.C. because it's inside the Capital Beltway.
That's all you see, the slabs on top of slabs. Fantastic fishing, though.
And that's the thing about urban fishing in city environments. You know, a lot of times the cover is this stuff that you see right here. And it's all the same. They're using it as ambush.
I should have been bit right there.
Yeah, I know it.
Robert and I work as a team using different techniques and zones to locate the fish.
When you've got two baits in the water, you could really attack it a little bit different. So we were strategically fishing different zones.
I'm looking for that finesse fish that really doesn't want it, but it's so overpoweringly small that he'll hit it.
Yeah, I think one of the important things for any fisherman to learn, especially bass fishermen, is to fish the different levels of the water column. You know, you're fishing a worm. There's a good one. There's a good one. Big one. Big one. Oh God, he pulled off.
Oh my goodness. Come on, make me another cast. I know he's there. You'll catch him again.
Did you see that?
What a hog.
That was a toady, man. And he come right there on that little piece of something.
It's a slab. Another slab.
He was sitting right on that thing.
Sitting on the edge of it.
I mean, that was a big one. God, that hurts. Man.
I'm looking up on the front of the boat, and he's steaming. Mike is on fire.
In tidal water, he ain't gonna catch him when the tide's wrong.
It's just one of those days where I cannot do a thing right.
Uh-huh.
He's ready to explode like a volcano.
We around for 5 hours and got out here at tide.
I was in mad Mike mode.
Everything that's taking place this morning, Mike has blamed himself for it.
I'm in total panic mode. I mean, I'm running around the boat like a crazy man, changing baits, grabbing rods.
Now he's stepping on rods because there's so many of them on the deck, he can't get around them.
At one point, someone on the boat steps on one of my favorite rods and breaks it.
It's called people stepping on my.
What's going on here? You know, I mean, I can't believe it. It's not Robert. It's not the baits we're throwing. It's not me. We're doing all the right things. Why can't we get bit?
As we're heading north towards D.C., we look over to the left, and there's Alexandria power plant with a discharge coming out.
You know, it's a little extra current flow. Anytime you got current, constant current is going to attract fish. This is an area that should have some fish in it. Who knows?
All we want to do at this point is get a keeper in the boat. Get 1 or 2 little tiny keepers in the boat to get some forward momentum.
Good area for a spinnerbait, man, that's for sure.
You think it is?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I wish I had one tied on.
If I catch one on it, I'll let you have it.
We're throwing different baits. We're trying to figure out what the fish want, and we're kind of starting on the outside, working our way in.
There he is.
Good one, too. Good one. Smallmouth.
Smallmouth is not normally what the Potomac River is used to seeing, so this was a treat. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Didn't you say you were going to give me that spinnerbait if you caught one?
God, what's the deal, Mike?
That's smallmouth. Look at that, we got an audience.
We got an audience.
There you go, that's the first keeper.
Dinner on Mike.
Put that thing in a live well, man.
Before I could almost put the fish in the live well, Mike hooks up on his crankbait.
Go, Giant! Try it!
He ate that.
Go.
He ate it.
When I first hooked into this fish, I'm thinking striper. There's no way in the world that it could be another smallmouth. Smallmouth don't happen on this river.
Don't you come off.
He ate it, Mike.
No, don't come off. Look at that. Another good one, number 2.
This fish is at least 2.5, 2 3/4. We don't have fish like that on the Potomac, not smallmouth.
Never ceases to amaze me. Beautiful smallmouth bass. You look at this thing. Where am I at? And then I turn my head. That's Washington, D.C. Right there, a stone's throw away
Look at no marker
from
no
a beautiful smallmouth fish. 2.5 pounder.
Give it up, boy.
Look at that
Give
thing.
it up.
Yeah.
Give it up.
I'm blown away, man. I'm just out of my mind blown away.
2 quick smallmouth in the boat. We're pretty sure we found something special.
We turn the boat back around. I throw back out with my spinnerbait and wham.
And my heart's pounding. I feel like I'm gonna get hit on every. You have one? Uh-oh.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No! You see her?
Oh, God.
Did you
Oh,
see it?
one just hit it. Still got it. Still got it.
They got it?
Oh, God, I missed it. Man, there's a load of them right there.
We're so juiced up because this never ever happens on the Potomac. Never you find a school smallmouth like this.
Oh, nice one!
Big one. Big one. Big one.
We know this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Easy, girl.
Take your time.
Easy!
Oh, God. He jumped about 10 foot out of the water.
You love it?
Is that a salmon or a
Yeah.
smallmouth?
It's happening and it's magic.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Come on, let's get in the, let's get in the
There you
boat.
go.
Let's get
Nice
in the boat.
smallmouth. Beautiful fish.
Beautiful fish. Healthy. I'm looking at this fish, Mike. Not a blemish on her.
Isn't that amazing?
Nowhere.
Doubles, doubles.
Double?
Big one.
Where's it at, Mike?
I don't know. This is a big. This might be a giant. This might be the giant. This might be a kicker. Oh, God! Oh, God! Don't you come off. No. He's got the troll motor. He's got the troll motor. Come out. Come out. Come on. Oh, God, no, no.
What a fish. What a fish.
Ah! Look at that! Oh, my
I told you, Mike, there were some huge ones in here.
Look at that thing!
All right, I got my work cut out for me.
3.5 pounder.
Yes, I got my work cut out for me.
Look at the plane taking off as I catch that fish. Think they can see me? This is awesome, man.
This is unreal.
Woo-hoo! He was way, you know what's funny? He was way out there in that current.
Mine was not. Mine was on the edge of it.
All of a sudden, from being at the lowest point we could be, all of a sudden me and Robert are in the zone. We're doing everything right. We can't do a thing wrong. We're catching them, we're making the perfect drift. Our day has changed.
Robert Pearson and I are trying to catch our limit of bass on the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. We found a huge school of smallmouth, a rare find on this river. We each caught 2 more smallmouth, but the fishing died just 2 fish short of our limit.
Almost 2 hours we've been in this spot. We've had bite after bite after bite.
We're fishing for a while and don't catch anything.
So we drift off.
As we're drifting off, we're letting the spot cool down some.
We adjust our baits, adding a little color, changing things. Again, it's so important to change the baits up a little bit. We make our last approach, and we know that we're 2 fish away from accomplishing our goal. and that's leaving the spot with 10 fish.
So we cut up and go in the middle of it. Mike hooks up one more time. Good fish.
I hear some noise in the back.
Let him in on the action.
Man!
Let him in on the action. How about it?
Go! Good fish. Limit of smallmouth bass
On the
Potomac River.
On the Potomac River.
Washington, D.C., downtown industrial bass. There's our city limit. Plenty of time left to call. Yeah! Jump back here and see what you
Let
got.
him in on the action.
See something.
Let him in on the action.
I don't know.
You know, this spot has been awesome to us. It's been amazing. Like I said, this is a dream spot.
It's just amazing. Come out here and do that. You know, you have such a frustrating start, you know? I mean, literally mad, pissed off. Can't get nothing going in
The
the
city
area
boys.
where you know there's big ones. And then come here and catch a limit of beautiful smallmouth. That's a special day, man.
This is a day where I'll remember the rest of my life.
You better believe it.
Because it doesn't happen like this often.
No.
You know?
Nah, there's some magic going on right here.
Yeah. We both have our limit, and we know time is running out. We've got maybe an hour left, and we're saying, look, we could stay here and milk this for what it's worth, but now we need a kicker.
We run deeper into DC, where there are a number of bridges for cars and trains used by commuters to get in and out of the city.
They're bridges, they're transportation for people, but they're transportation for fish too. You know, they stop on all these pilings.
Literally on my second cast, I catch a small keeper largemouth. It's a sign to slow down and fish these things more thorough.
Largemouth.
Right over the top of us. It's nothing but noise. But that's what we have here in the urban area. That's what all urban areas have.
Bye-bye, train.
Lots and lots of noise.
About 5 minutes after that first fish, Robert misses a good bite on a shaky head.
That one bite it? Suspended on the piling, huh?
Yeah, it was suspended.
I'm gonna switch out. I'm gonna go to my gulp again. Just the bait looks like a shad dying. Fish a little slower.
And I'm watching it sink. I'm watching that bait sink. And I look at my depth finder and there's bait fish. It's about 18 or 19 foot of water and it's sinking. I'm counting it down. It probably gets about 12 foot down and the line goes donk.
Good one. Yeah. Go, go! Bring largemouth! Oh my God! Oh, get him! Bring me up!
You know, one of the things that I try to do with light line is I feed the fish drag. So I'm stripping it out with my hand. Every time he runs, I'm stripping it out and feeding him line.
I mean a monster. I mean, oh my God!
I lay on my back. I'm trying to let this fish come to me. So I'm laying on my back. I'm guiding the fish to me. And he's getting closer and he's getting closer.
Look at that.
It's like we just won the lottery. You know, we know at that moment that we've done exactly what we wanted to do during the course of the day.
I had fish by with the reaction bait. I didn't get a bite. Slowed it down and caught a nice 4-pound largemouth. That's the kind of fish you need to make that limit a giant limit. Unbelievable. In the center of mass transit. And this is the kind of bass you catch. Downtown DC. City limits, baby.
This is Nashville, the country music capital of the world. Outside the city, there's hiking, rafting, and fishing. In Tennessee, the great outdoors stretch from the Great Smoky Mountains to the mighty Mississippi. But Mike Iaconelli is from Jersey, and he likes fishing urban waters. He's come here in pursuit of monster smallmouth.
Can you believe these fish that are in this river?
This is City Limits Fishing, Nashville.
Of course, the night before we get in, a major cold front. You know, temperatures dropping down in the 30s, bluebird skies, a cold wind. I mean, you couldn't ask for worse fishing conditions.
We arrive at the launching ramp, and even this New Jersey boy is cold.
Leading up to it, worried that we wouldn't even catch a fish, you know, talking about canceling the shoot because this is such a drastic cold front.
This is my first time meeting Shane Petty, a police officer from nearby Lebanon, Tennessee.
We met at the launching ramp, and I knew it was going to be cold, so I bundled up. I wore my bibs and my rain gear to keep the wind, and it was freezing.
The Cumberland River runs right through the heart of Nashville. We launch east of downtown near Neely's Bend and run towards the Old Hickory Dam.
We're headed up to our first spot, and I'm hurt. You know, I'm in pain. You're talking about temperature in the 30s, and then you're doing 60 or 70 miles an hour, and you're holding on to the steering wheel, you're bundled up, your skin hurts. Weather-wise, I know we're in for a challenging day.
Our challenge is to catch a combined limit of 10 fish in 8 hours within the metropolitan city limits of Nashville. We stop at an island 10 minutes from where we launched.
This island's unique because it has a lot of boulders, and these boulders run from a range of 2 foot off to 8 to 10 foot, and it's really close to deeper water.
I start with the crankbait because it imitates the shad and it covers a lot of water.
When that crankbait's down there, it's diving, it's got a tight wobble, and it deflects off a rock, it hits off a rock, you're triggering a reaction bite. So even though those fish are lethargic, it's after a cold front, if you could get that bait to deflect, it'll trigger a reaction strike.
I make a few casts and I hook a small fish.
Pulls the thing in there, we look at it, and it's a smallmouth. It's a short smallmouth, it's a non-keeper.
It's a good sign. There is activity on these rocks. Well, that fish, it hit me about halfway back from the bank.
So we move off the bank and into deeper water. We're still trying to piece together the puzzle, so we're alternating between crankbaits, spinnerbaits, and shaky heads.
The bait's got extra action, it's shivering. You can tell the worms move around.
I'm working that bait down that rock break, that deeper rock stuff, and I feel the first little tap of the day, a little tick, and the line starts to swim off. And I set the hook,
Giant.
Not a giant.
Look at that, another smallmouth.
And the one similarity that both fish came on is they came on that deeper rock.
We're an hour into the day with no legal fish.
You know, it's basically not happening. We're switching baits, we're just not getting the keepers. So we make a decision that we're gonna pack up, we're gonna move up the river.
The camera crew got off the boat to go further down to get some shots from the bank.
And they got maybe, I don't know, about 50 yards.
As we were making our way towards them, Mike picked up a jig.
It's a finesse football head, it's a small little compact jig, and it's a crawfish imitation. Let me just try that as we work up to these camera guys.
And cast the jig to this mound of boulders.
And it's caught, it gets caught, and I pop it out of a rock, and all of a sudden, bang, I get my first good hit of the day.
Don't come off of there. Don't you come off there. You please, please.
Oh, God!
I'm fighting the
I wanna need
fish,
help with this one,
and the
man.
camera crew is fighting to get
Please, don't
shots
come up there.
from way
God,
down
please,
the
don't
river.
come up there.
You know I have a tendency to call everything a giant, but this is a real giant. I'm fighting this thing, and I'm fighting this thing.
God, please don't come up there. God, he was screaming, yelling, and he said, Shane, I'm gonna need your help on this one. So I ran to the front of the boat, and
Shane grabs this thing and pulls it out.
I got my hand in his mouth, put that death grip on it, brung it to the surface.
Oh my God! Look at that! I'm so excited, I give Shane a man hug. This is absolutely unexpected. Look at that thing! I gotta tell you, it's cold. I didn't even know if we're gonna catch a keeper. And all of a sudden, this early on, a little over an hour into the day, I put a 6-pound class largemouth in the boat. It's awesome.
That's the line that's frayed from where it was in that rock.
When you land a 6-pounder and you look at your line, it's frayed like that, you got lucky to land it.
Good fish, baby. Yeah. They're here, we just gotta find them.
You know, we started out kind of cold, kind of anxious, not really sure if we were going to catch a keeper. And then to catch a fish like that, that changes the momentum of the day.
I retie and we fish the same bank again, but not the same way.
Now we're really starting to get our first couple pieces of the puzzle, and we're knowing that we have to slow down, we have to use baits that are on the bottom, and we have to fish deeper.
We keep working the bank and I keep throwing my football head jig.
I know that the main forage here is shad, but anytime you see a bank and it's loaded with rocks and boulders like we're fishing here, you know there's crawfish that live there, and I don't think you can get a better imitation of a crawfish than a small jig with a crawfish trailer on it.
We get to the end of the bank without getting another bite, so we run a short distance to the old Hickory Boulevard Bridge.
Excuse me, you know there's any good fishing? Anything? The King's no help.
Local cop Shane Petty and I are trying to catch a limit of bass in Nashville. Just put a 6-pound largemouth in the boat. Cities normally have a lot of bridges, and bridges are fish magnets.
This is the kind of spot that they could be ganged up. It's got concrete, it's got rocks scattered along it, and it's in deep water.
Mike picks up his finesse jig, tosses it right up next to the pier, and immediately sets the hook and misses a fish.
I was smelling the water.
Immediately casts back to the same spot, again sets the hook, misses the fish.
There's another one. Oh, man.
What I'm thinking in my mind is I'm thinking, you know what? There's some small spotted bass around this bridge piling.
A bunch of them there.
There's that little bite again. And I almost half-heartedly swing this time and set the hook. And I set the hook.
That's a big one.
Amazing sight to see this huge brown smallmouth just come tail walking out. Go, God! And I'm fighting this thing, I'm fighting, I'm taking my time. All I'm thinking is, Shane, please, please, keep your hands on this thing, get it in the boat.
Go. Yeah! Yeah!
All of a sudden to have two giants in the boat, it's a relief.
4-pounder, 3.5.
Yeah.
So I catch a little short, largemouth.
It's a black.
We let that thing go. And a couple casts later, Shane's back there throwing that shaky head worm, and he's fishing on that rocky point, and he sets the hook.
Spot. It's black.
Black. I think he's gonna make it.
Yeah, that's key.
He's gonna make it.
Yeah, it's gonna make it.
Feeling good, I got 1 fish, Mike's got 3. The day is young, it's gonna be a good day.
We work the pilings and get a few bites, but no keepers. I switch from a jig to a shaky head. Nothing. We decide to leave.
And I grab the trolling motor, I pick it up, and as I go to reel the handle, all of a sudden I feel dunk dunk, and my line starts to drift away. Then I set the hook on that spinning rod.
Good one. Oh, it's a big one. Oh.
It's a little bit different than a jig fish, because now I've got 8 pounds Hess. So I've really got to kind of baby this thing in.
Oh, please, don't come on. Oh. Man, I knew it. I knew we had to come back to this bridge. Had a feeling. Get it. Yeah! Yeah!
It's the 3rd smallmouth from this spot, and it's bigger than the first 2 we caught there. This is almost a 5-pound class smallmouth. Amazing.
Went back with the true tungsten Ike head.
Yeah! Oh, what a good move that was.
This is Missouri. You can travel back in time to the Old West. Go down the Mississippi like Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer. Or go for a drive on Route 66. The Show Me State will show you a good time. But Mike Iaconelli is an urban angler from Jersey. He's come to St. Louis on a mission. Not to sing the blues, eat the barbecue, or drink the beer. He's looking for great fishing.
Oh my God!
This is City Limits Fishing, St. Louis.
St. Louis, right there.
We sent a champion angler to some great cities on a mission.
They like you.
They like me. Oh my God, I never seen one that big. Chicago River, within the city limits, and that's my limit! Yeah!
This is City Limits Fishing with Mike Iaconelli.
Summertime in St. Louis is when people spend their time outside enjoying city life. We're on the Mississippi River trying to catch a limit of fish. I'm focused on my line when suddenly, on the other side of the river, a worker slips and falls off the barge over 10 feet down and splashes into the river. A co-worker frantically yells for us to help. We quickly pull up our lines and race to help the man. We have to get to him before the current sucks him under the barge. This dramatic story has never been told until now. The day begins like most other days on the Mississippi River. Barges move freight, commuters travel to work, and like most city limit shoots, we meet up with the guests and talk about fishing.
I don't know a lot about St. Louis, but I do know a lot about catfish. One of my early loves fishing was catfish.
I start unpacking my rods.
And I'm starting to realize, you know what? This is probably not the right tackle for giant cats. If we blow it up, we blow it up. As long as the catfish comes in the boat. We don't care about the rod, we want to land the fish.
Ryan Casey is a catfish guide on the Mississippi.
St. Louis has got to be one of the greatest cat fisheries on the planet.
We back the boat down the cobblestones into the water. No ramp needed.
We start running to our first spot. We've got bridges, we've got barge traffic. I mean, this is urban fishing.
Our challenge is to catch a limit of 10 blue catfish in 8 hours within the city limits of St. Louis.
10 fish, 2 guys, 8 hours. That's not much of a challenge down here.
I'm not sure about it being not much of a challenge, but all I see in this river is trouble.
The barge traffic's crazy. I mean, it's non-stop traffic.
If you want to be sharp, you want to keep your eyes on what you're doing out here.
It's like full combat fishing out here. I mean, you got to worry about 100-pound catfish and you got to worry about barges crashing into you, man. This is crazy.
We go around a line of moored barges to the backside. Even here, the current is powerful.
There's a big one there, man. A couple of them. They're here.
I'm ready. Ryan goes up front, drops the trolling motor. I go to the back, I grab my rod. I'm ready to fish, but you know, I'm not sure how we're going to catch these cats.
Ryan grabs the skipjack and starts cutting it up.
I like to take that first cut and make a nice fillet off of one side, and then I'll 3/4 cut him, and that head bait seems to be the ticket out there for the bigger fish.
We fish on the bottom in 25 to 40 feet of water, and we're marking fish.
I don't want to say I'm superstitious, but, you know, I really like to cater my facial hair toward the day of fishing. Today, you know, I go with the catfish whiskers, you know, old school 70s catfish whiskers, you know, to kind of try to match that look of the catfish.
I can dig that. I mean, I've seen crazier from them, I think.
And I think these big cats are going to like it.
We're less than 30 minutes into the first drift. And I reel down and I mean, he's right there, so I crossed his eyes. First fish. Oh my God. Come on in the boat, baby. Get that thing in here. Pretty decent fish, you know, and there's definitely excitement. Oh my God. Look at that thing. He makes a couple more jerks and there he comes up to the surface. That's a nice blue cat.
Oh my God. It's our first cat of the day. He puts it in the boat. It's a giant blue cat. How big is that?
This one, probably about 12 pounds, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Both hooks. And there's...
Oh my gosh, look at that pretty fish. Look at that thing. Dude, that's a giant.
It's a nice, healthy...
For the first one of the day.
Grain-fed catfish.
If this is a sign of how today's gonna go, things are gonna be good.
Let's get this one back in.
We're at the end of the drift, so Ryan pulls up the trolling motor, and we run back up the river to start our second drift.
We're gonna start a little bit different drift, a little more outside, and see if we can find a little bit more active fish.
Ryan pulls out 2 additional rods for each of us to fish and starts rigging them. I'm just watching him.
Hey, this is nice, man. This is a nice treat. He's the catfish guru. I'm not. I'm a bass guy.
Mike kind of liked the fact that, you know, I was willing to tie his rigs up, and, you know, I don't mind because I'm used to it.
I'm lazy. I'm gonna let him do it.
So now we're fishing 2 rods each. I like our chances.
We're starting our drift, and we've got the side rods out, and boom, there's a decent fish. Oh!
On the side rod?
Yeah, side roddy. That's a good fish. That's better. These fish will pull and pull. Get wrapped up. This one's just going nuts. We want to get those hooks out of that fish as fast as I can because I gotta get that rod back in the water.
It's not even been an hour, and we've got 2 like world-class catfish in the boat. Is this happening?
There he is.
As I'm watching him fight that fish, all of a sudden I look over and my side rod goes down. I pick my side rod up. I'm fighting this fish.
I got one too. All right, double.
I get mine to the top. I'm like, what? I fling it in. It's like a little one.
They are?
I catch the babies. I catch the baby. I'm like, did this catfish come from Jersey? How'd it get to St. Louis?
I reach down, grab the leader on that fish, and pull it in.
Hey, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture?
I don't
Hold on
think
a second.
anything's wrong with
Look
it,
at
Mike.
this.
I think this is
Look
about
at this. What's wrong with this picture?
This looks right to me.
That's his baby. Look, he just gave birth to that cat.
I'm watching my rod tip. I'm impatient.
That was a beast.
Wait, I'm waiting. All of a sudden, I see my rod just go.
There he is.
Pick up that rod. I set the hook. Man, this is a good one. This is a good one.
Oh, God.
And I can't budge him. I mean, this thing's just got girth to it. Ah! Look at this thing! We finally get it in. Ryan puts it in the boat.
Oh, we got it.
Oh my God!
That's a nice one, Mike.
18 pounds! Pound for pound, these cats are the hardest fighting fish in fresh water.
Oh, that was sick. Did you see that bite? Oh, my God.
We're halfway to our limit, but if we never catch another cat the rest of the day, I'm pretty stoked right now. I'm pretty happy.